Welcome back for another episode of the LeRoy Irvin Show. LeRoy is a former three-time All-Pro corner and one-time All-Pro punt returner who still holds the record for most punt return yards in a single game to this day. I'm your host, Jimmy, and alongside myself, we have our analyst, Coach B. And today's guest is in special territory as one of the only 7 NFL kickers who kick barefooted. Welcome, Rams legend Mike Lansford.
I've got a lot
Ready
of
to
I got
roll.
young people helping me. Yeah,
That's,
that's
that's
all
all
good.
you need to run a podcast nowadays.
Yeah. Well, that's important.
Hey, no, you're fine. You're fine. Right
All
where
right.
we're at.
Awesome. So we just want to jump right in, take it back to you when you were young. You know, you're a kicker. What got you into to kicking? Football. Did you play other sports
That's
like
your first
soccer?
question.
Just jumping right in, yeah.
All right. Well, I was lucky enough to. I grew up playing soccer, and there was a change that happened for me around 13 or 14. It might have been puberty or whatever, but for whatever reason, the ball started jumping off my foot better than it did off everybody else. And I noticed it. Everybody else noticed it. And I started, I became a kicker. I wasn't the athlete that LeRoy Irvin was. So I was smart enough to just kick. And I did that all. I played, international soccer as well. And that's how I got into kicking. I did that better than I did anything else.
Was there another position that you like when you first started? You were
I
like,
had
I'm gonna
zero
be
interest
quarterback.
in
Gotcha.
getting hit or running or any of those things. I had a lot of skills. I had racket skills. I could pitch. I wasn't good at basketball. I could kick the ball. That's what I could do. Well, I had you around me, so I was good at basketball. Yeah, yeah. We had great charity games, and it was a lot of fun. We traveled the Western United States, and we have great stories from little towns and really, really, I mean, really good stories from little towns. So anyway, a lot of fun, raised a lot of money. I'm not a good basketball player, but I tried it.
The hustle that matters.
Correct.
Yeah. Hey, Mike, thinking about those travels, man, you know, today's would never do what we did. Get in our car or the van and go from California to Nevada to Utah. Oh, no, we didn't go to Utah, we went to Nevada, right?
We went from California to Utah to Wyoming to Idaho,
Yeah.
and that was like 35 days. And to start the trip, our equipment manager called me on a Friday afternoon, and he said, Mike, we have a game tonight. Can you play? I said, great, I'll play. Because we made a whopping $100, to show up to the event. And that was a big deal. And so I showed up, but then for some reason I said, you know what? Where's the game? He said, it's in Mojave. I said, Mojave, do I need to bring my toothbrush and maybe a pair of underwear? He said, yes, do that. We were gone for 35 days. So what we had is a promoter/van driver that kept calling ahead to cities and kept scheduling our charity games that we had. And over the weeks, we'd play a week, and then we'd have guys let fly home, and then guys replace them, and so forth. So I made the biggest trip I'm talking about is a trip that we always talk about, which is like 1983, and we really had a great time and raised a lot of money. Great experience. Probably made more money on that basketball trip than I made playing for the Rams that year because it was a strike. My first year with the Rams was a strike year. So we played we were set with nine games my first season after being cut by 3 teams in 2 years. Finally make the Rams, go on strike, and I make more playing charity basketball than anybody else. So
That's wild how that
is that a
works.
little bit? Is that story a little bit accurate, LeRoy? Yeah.
That is so accurate. But the thing is, we spent $100 before we got to the next town.
Correct. Well, there's a lot of gambling. There's a lot of gambling towns too in the middle of that too. So that's not good. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And the girl comes up to me and says, wipes my face and says, "Hey, mom, it doesn't come off."
That's so bad. Come on, LeRoy.
Remember?
Oh, man.
You already got thrown out of those bars. They won't let us, remember, come on now. Let's be honest.
So this is one of those kind of interviews. So I remember doing all the interviews. We had to say please and thank you. You couldn't swear or talking about difficult topics. So
This is exactly what you want it to be. Whatever goes.
I
Edit out
see.
whatever we need to.
I see. Anyway,
Oh, yeah.
anything with LeRoy Irvin was just the best. Best athlete, smart, great person, great family. I end up working with his son, and just it was a lot of fun. Just so much fun.
That's awesome.
Mike, how did you end up at UDub, and what was the recruiting process, if at all, for you?
Well, they recruited me, and I was lucky. I went to Europe to play soccer after high school, and um, I ended up thinking that I was stupid enough to think I was going to be an international pro soccer player. Well, they sent me home very quickly, so I went to Pasadena City College, and that team was loaded with talent at the time. And it was a team that was loaded and needed a guy to start and finish the game. That's what kickers do. They start the game, they finish the game. And so I was very fortunate. And we had a guy named Chris Lennon that I played high school football with at Arcadia High School, and um, he went to Washington after we graduated. I went to Pasadena City College. He went to Washington. He helped recruit me to the University of Washington. University of Washington had just beaten uh, Michigan in the Rose Bowl. Warren Moon was the quarterback. I took Warren Moon's jersey, his number, and the whole thing. He helped me recruit me. He even eventually set me up with his agent, Lee Steinberg, a guy you guys may know. And so that's how I ended up at Washington. I was recruited by probably 20 different teams. It came down really to Oregon and Washington. I was really impressed with Oregon, but Washington just won the Rose Bowl. I mean, what am I going to do? So I went to Washington. And my best friends, other than LeRoy, all came from the Seattle area, the West Coast area, and that's how I chose the University of Washington.
Sweet.
Hey,
Do you
how
think that's
about
any
when
different?
Kansas came to town and you guys played us? Remember when Kansas came to town?
Yeah, was that a practice or a real game, LeRoy? I don't know, because we beat your ass pretty good. It was like 38-2, if I remember. Yeah. So my junior year, we played LeRoy's Kansas team. And what did you guys say when you were coming out of the tunnel, LeRoy?
Big eight, big eight, big
Okay.
eight.
Okay. Yeah, yeah. They were they were very confident, or they thought they was false confidence, and it was a lot of fun. We they allowed us to warm up to play the rest of our schedule. Yeah. Anyway, LeRoy and I will always have that on LeRoy Irvin. I will always have that on him. Yeah.
There you go. That's
Yeah.
all you need. Uh, Want to take it back to when you all were teammates back on the Rams. You were teammates for about 7 years or so. And it sounds like, you have a little bit of history before that, but what were your impressions of each other, like, during that time on the Rams? Like, your first year, was he a bully to you, kinda kick farther than you, anything like that?
No, 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 no. LeRoy is awesome. It's just when you're a guy like me and you go to the school I went to, and it's not a lot of great athletes. And not to make this a cultural thing, but I mean, we didn't we didn't have a lot of black players around us all the time. I went to Pasadena City College, and that was different for us. But when you were around, I mean, great athletes. I mean, great athletes. And it was definitely a difference between the guys I grew up with and guys like LeRoy. And they were so amazing. And it blows you away that you're actually in the locker room with these guys. They're so different from you. They're so different from you, but yet we all are the same people. We get along, we love each other, and but we're different. You know, our families are different. The whole thing's different. And LeRoy was just amazing, amazing athlete and character to be with. And I can't stress that enough. I mean, he's just a friend for life, and maybe even after that. I don't know. I'm not a spiritual guy, but it just being around LeRoy is just very important for me, and it was a great gift. And we were all put together in the same pot, and we got along, and everything was just so amazing. So it just, I don't know if I answered that question properly or improperly, but I mean, just he's such a great athlete. The little things that he would do every step of the way just separated him from uh, from from the guys I was used to. Him and Kurt Collins. Him and Kurt Collins were the two best athletes I'd ever. I mean, these guys just doing little things where you just can't believe that we're all, you know, trying to compete on the same level field. I mean, those two guys were different from us, and it was a pleasure, and I was so fortunate to be there and to even now and to hang around and be a part of LeRoy's life is just it's amazing for me. I'm very fortunate.
It's awesome.
Don't start crying, LeRoy. But whatever. Yeah, that's how I feel.
In the mail. The check's in the mail. But let me ask you a question. Oh, first, let's go into the rookie show. The rookie show.
I missed all that. I'm sorry.
The rookie show.
The rookie show. You talking about the rookie show? Yeah. The rookie show, we every year, guys, we have a rookie show where the rookies, the guys that made the team entertain the veterans. And it's a rite of passage type thing. And I made, John Misko and I made the team. We both replaced Frank Corral. Frank Corral kicked any punted. And, he was good. We were better. Combined, we were better. John Misko went to Vietnam. And so when we were when you're in the rookie show, you're trying to entertain the old veteran. And John Misko had, as part of his training in the war, he was part of the evacuation, and he um, learned how to survive. And part of his survival training was drinking the blood out of animals. And so we decided he was going to drink the blood out of a chicken. So we ripped the head off a chicken and drank its blood. He did. And we did it. And my job was to cut off the head of the chicken with a knife, but it didn't need to because it came off so fast in his hands. He threw the head of the chicken into the stands, quote unquote, in the pizza place that we were at. Everybody runs out of there, including all the big old tough guys, Jack Youngblood, Jim Youngblood, Jackie Slater, all the big old tough guys. And that's a story that will always be with us because of what John Misko did. So he holds the chicken over his head, headless, the legs are scratching and going, and his arms are a mess. People are throwing up. And that was our rookie show. That was it.
What did you have to do during that? Like, I know your job was to cut the chicken, but
Yeah.
it turns out like he did
Rip the
everything
head
else.
off the chicken, drank its blood. That's what we did. Yeah. So
Wow.
didn't think we needed an encore. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we still hear even to this day, I will go out. I mean, that was 1982. So to this day, I'm still in Orange County, and I hear stories about that incident. Apparently, there
that's
were
crazy.
3,000 people there. I didn't realize that because I've heard so many times. Yeah,
You're gonna hear it a lot
Wow.
more now.
right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Oh,
definitely.
this popular this
Oh,
podcast.
yeah.
Yeah, we'll do
Exactly.
that.
Mike, I wanna get down into kind of the nitty-gritty of kicking
All right,
field
here we
goals.
go. Here we go.
Can you explain to everybody why it's so important to have a snapper and a holder that you're comfortable with when kicking field goals?
Well, I think it's just like any other position. You have to have confidence in the people that support you and what you're doing. And once I had once I had made the team and once I was part of the deal, I had my own confidence that I had to I had to make sure that I was good, even though I was kicking the ball well. I mean, I was a barefoot kicker, which I'm sure is your next question. But I'm blasting the ball and I'm very, very good. Now it's like, you have a team that you have to be in sync with. So, snapper, holder, kicker. We had the best offensive line in football, Leroy, for how long? I mean, most of our career, right? What would Eric Dickerson say about that? I mean, we have the best offensive line. Yeah,
And we said that, and Jackie Slate also said that. But where were they at in '85 when we went to Chicago?
right, right. So I had that too. So I had those guys protecting me, which gives you so much confidence in what you're doing. I already had confidence in what I'm doing, confidence in my center, confidence in my holder. Steve Dills, Dolan Cromwell, uh, Pete Holohan, those guys were my holders. You couldn't ask. All three of them were the best I've ever had. I couldn't even tell you who's best. Mike McDonald was a guy that uh, um, playing New Orleans, and the week before we lost our snapper, which is Doug Barnett. He blew a knee or whatever. He was a rookie. Mike McDonald was the guy that snapped for John Robinson at USC, and he hadn't played football for like how long? 4 years, 5 years. John Robinson pulled Mike McDonald off a bar stool in Burbank, and he was. I mean, just has the natural skills to be the best. And he was amazing. He and I got along great. My holders, Steve Dills, Nolan Cromwell, Pete Holohan, we all worked very, very well on it because you know what? They took it seriously. It's very easy to dismiss that part of the game. Those guys are real position players, right? They took the job of holding for me very seriously. I mean, they were very, very competitive in that. And we weren't a team that was going to blow people out. I can't remember blowing anybody out, Leroy. Can you? I really can't. I mean, it came, kicking. You missed a kick in the first quarter. That's a big deal. 9 years I played. I don't know how many times we blew teams out. I mean, I really don't. But those guys are important. Really helped my confidence in them, my confidence in myself. It really did help.
Did you guys time the operation? I know they do that nowadays. Did you do that back then?
Yeah, back then we had like stopwatches and all those things. Yeah, we were sophisticated, and so it gets down to around 1 point. Right now, you're getting the ball off at about 1.3 snap hold kick.
Mhm.
I could take a little bit extra time if I missed a kick. It was because I sped it up. I was too anxious, and I sprinted through it, and I smothered it. I probably snap hooked it to the left. My average snap hold kick time was probably on average about 1.3, but I could go 1.4, 1.45 sometimes because I had the best offensive line in football helping me out.
Gotcha.
Really helped.
Didn't you only take like 2 steps or something like that? 2 steps or 1 step, or I'm not sure. How many steps did you take?
I took a couple steps. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, everybody has their own way of measuring the kick and marching it off and the whole thing. I just kind of backed up until I felt great. I didn't keep it too specific. It's probably 3 steps, 3 steps, 1 step over. That's pretty straight on for a soccer style kicker. I know I'm boring most of the people here right now with my that speech, but I mean, yeah. Thanks, LeRoy,
No.
for a boring question. Yeah, yeah.
How in the heck did you get the name Twinkle Toes?
Well, you gave it to me, so why don't you answer that?
I remember getting your name.
Yeah. It's just, hey, if I have a nick, kickers aren't always well received in the locker room. You're always perceived as different and all that. I get all that, you know, but I'm there. I'm there, and I'm getting nicknames from the great, superior quality, world class athletes. So I'll take bullshit, frickin' nicknames from all you guys all day long because that's a compliment to me.
I want to
It's the
ask if
bad kickers that don't get nicknames, LeRoy. You know, you don't even know
they're
their name;
gone,
they're
they're out.
out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to ask if you've been keeping up with the NFL and the new rule changes with the new kickoff. Uh,
I'm not really. I
yeah,
I'm not sure they know what it is. It looks like the guy kicks off and over there, and then you go, and then over there. I mean, that's all I know.
yeah,
I'm surprised kicking's still a part of the game. To be honest with you, I kept saying that when I was playing. I said they're going to eliminate kicking altogether, and that may or may not happen. But I mean, these weird rules that they're making, trying to adjust. I get the protecting the players and trying to keep the injury levels down. But I'm not sure about this. I kind of saw a sketch of what's going on. LeRoy, what do you think about it?
Hey, well, they got to do something because I haven't seen a kick return in about 10 years.
Well, when the weather changes, there's kick returns, and that's when that's what happens. So I don't know, dude. I
yeah.
don't know. I don't know the answer other than you know we're still there to start the game. Like I started this conversation. You can't start the game before the kicker kicks off, and more often than not, we end up winning the game for you. So respect us until you kick us out.
There you go. Just kind of my own thoughts on it. I think it's going to open a lot more lanes for kick returners to, you know, run down the field and score. So I'm thinking some kickers are going to have to start making some more tackles.
Well,
Like,
I did that too, but
yeah,
the
a lot more often. Yeah,
what we did a lot is that I kicked the ball before they could make the ball a Super Bowl, meaning they doctor the ball, they dip it in water, they scrape off the dimples, they turn the NFL ball into a Super Bowl. That's what they do. The league has a kickball that's different from the ball that they play with. Okay, there's like 12 balls they give the team, and they make it literally a Super Bowl. And that Super Bowl, you can give it a stern look, and it'll go 10 yards. I mean, they make 50-yard field goals look like extra points.
gee,
That's where we are with the Super Bowl. It's all about offense. It's just like the NBA getting rid of defense. I mean, even the NFL got rid of, getting rid of defense. It's all about offense and catering to the fans and scoring and all that. And I get it. It's all good. But that's where it is. That's why what LeRoy said, all the kicks are blowing through the end zone. He hasn't seen anybody return a kick for a long time. That's why, because the ball just explodes off your foot. And
So
that's
you
and
don't
that's and that's where it is. Yeah.
so you don't think that kickers are necessarily have stronger legs now than 20,
No,
30 years ago?
no, 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 no. No, they don't. And I don't want to sound like Clint Eastwood, get off my lawn guy, the old guy, right? But I mean, it's it is what it is. Technology has changed. I mean, that's the answer. Just like the juice baseball or whatever in basketball, or again, getting rid of defense in the NBA and then bragging that you're the scoring leader. It's stupid, right? It's just different. You can't compare the scenarios. The ball jumps off your foot. It's a great thing. You have more confidence, and conditions are much better because right now you've got you know your fields. There's no muddy fields. You're not kicking off infield dirt. It's it's catered towards success, and there's a lot of money in the league, and it's great. I love watching it. However, it's not the same game that Leroy and I played.
So I'm sure you've talked about it, and I know you have a million times, right? You're one of 7 barefoot kickers. But I'm curious to know, like, what was your off-season preparation slash rehabilitation for your foot since you were getting a lot more wear and tear on it than a normal kicker?
Well, good question. Um, Same as anybody else, really. I mean, there was nothing special. The reason I kicked barefoot was the growing up in high school and junior college and college, you get to kick off a tee, a platform, right, a 2-inch platform. And in the NFL, they take that tee away. So getting under the ball is a great change. Some guys got under the ball very easily, no big deal. It was a very easy transition. For me, it wasn't. I could not get under the ball. So I was drafted by the Giants. I was drafted by the Giants, and Bill Belichick was my special teams coach, right? And they're excited to have me there and the whole thing. And I can't kick the ball over Leroy's butt. I literally can't. I cannot get under the ball. I'm hitting the ball fat every time. I'm kicking up grass. Get cut by the Giants. I get cut by the Niners. I get cut by the Raiders. But fine, I'm not accepting this very well. I still think that I'm an NFL athlete. Maybe I'm living a dream, or I'm afraid of working for a living. Most likely that. And I keep working out. I keep trying and trying and trying. And one day, um, I had to had to drive an hour to work out with some retired athletes. And I get there and I have a blister on my heel. I'm sorry, I have a blister on my heel. Drove an hour, wanted to work out with these guys. I'm figuring, I've got a blister on my heel and it hurt. I took my shoe off. At the time, Tony Franklin was in the league. Tony Franklin was the first barefoot kicker. Tony Franklin was all pro, kicking the hell out of the ball immediately. Great barefoot kicker. And I figured, I've tried everything else. I've been cut by 3 teams. Let's try something different. So by removing the shoe, I removed the sole of the shoe and the cleats. So I'm dropping my foot just an inch, 2 inches, whatever it is. I'm getting into the ball. So for golfers like Leroy, he understands, hitting the ball off the fairway with a driver or hitting the ball off the fairway with a sand wedge, those are 2 different things. So now kicking the ball barefoot, I'm hitting the ball with the sand wedge and my foot's fast. I'm hitting the ball pure. And that was everything to me. So, making sure I had the confidence to go along with that, convincing coaches to give me tryouts because there was only one barefoot kicker in the league. You know, People thought I lost my fucking mind. And so I was very fortunate to get tryouts. I got the tryouts. I kicked the hell out of the ball. I made the Rams.
Oh,
Awesome. Great story.
Leroy, you still there? I don't know if we lost Leroy.
You alive, Leroy?
It looks like his camera's frozen.
Yeah, it was a dream come true. It really was. And I couldn't believe it myself, to be honest with you. I couldn't believe that it was just something as simple as taking my shoe off. Now, what other problems did that present? Right? So, in 9 years, did we ever play a cold game? Yeah, we did. It was very, very hard. Did I ever get stepped on by any players on the other team? No, I got stepped on by my own players. Standing next to guys like Leroy on the sideline, they're excited, and they step on my foot, because they're anxious. It's just, it really was a dream come true. I was just lucky as hell to figured out the opportunity to kick barefoot, and I made it work.
So
I was
And a
gonna
great
ask you that.
supporting cast. I mean, what a great supporting cast.
I was gonna
Coaches that
ask you if you
believed
put
in me,
your
players that believed in me, family that almost believed in me. They all thought I lost my mind, but I made it work.
um, I gotta ask about, and I've been asking everyone this that we've talked to so far, is the in 1985, the Let's Ram It video.
Yeah, I was not in that.
You weren't in it? Oh,
No, and
man.
what's funny is that I was mad that I wasn't in it, and now I'm so happy I wasn't in it. Embarrassing. Yeah, but
Oh, man, that was
it's very cool. I mean, it's funny.
funny to watch
It
for
is
sure.
funny to watch, and it's a sign of the times, and I just wasn't in it. I wasn't invited. Norwood Van, who had played 1 year, was in it, but All Pro Mike Lansford wasn't in it. Yeah, no, LeRoy, I'm not bitter. I'm not bitter. We there?
Yeah, I got you. I
Yeah,
don't I don't I don't think he can hear Leroy.
I don't think so either. Where are you, LeRoy?
We could hear the both of you.
Let me tell you, playing for the Rams, besides the fact that I grew up in LA, I grew up in Arcadia,
Mhm.
LA County. My family's in LA. I went to Washington to go to school, but I played for the LA Rams, and it was just an amazing time for me. It really was. And I'm the kicker, so there's a lot of high profile that goes along with it. I was a good kicker, and I was with a team that needed a good kicker because, as I mentioned earlier, we rarely blew people out of the stadium. I mean, we didn't do that much. We really didn't. So coming down to the kicker was just such a big part of the game. You miss a kick in the first quarter and second quarter, you may lose that game because that's just the way we play. And so it was my pleasure to be a part of a team that you know we weren't great, but we were pretty good all the time, and it was a lot of fun.
Awesome.
Definitely.
Yeah,
Yeah, I did wanna ask one more, or at least for myself, one more question, and it's for the 1989 game against the 49ers, kicked the game-winning field goal, so, that's a big moment in your career. Do you remember what that experience was like? Like, what was going through your head at that time?
1989 against the Niners. That
Yep.
kick,
Mhm.
well, I had a lot, but that season we played in. Remember Tokyo, LeRoy? Went to Tokyo and had a. Oh God, was that a great trip? Um, just had a great trip. But I ended up having the game-winning field goal there too, which is only a preseason game. But anytime you can beat the Niners, that's a good thing.
Yeah.
And then we
Especially then too, yeah.
correct, yeah. So we ended up beating them again, like third or fourth game of the year, and I had a game-winning field goal at the end. And it was a tough one. We were out of the game, and they fumbled like with a minute to go, and we ended up driving down the field, and I hit a short field goal, and we win that game, and that was great. We played them 4 times that year. The 2 games I just talked about. Plus, we played them in Anaheim Stadium when we were up what 17 points in the fourth quarter. LeRoy and John Taylor and Jerry Rice ended up having 95-yard touchdown pass. They ended up beating us. Great, exciting game, and it was part of. We were a popular team. The Niners were obviously very popular. And we should have won that game, but it was so exciting to even be in a situation like that. And then we ended up losing to them in the NFC Championship game. We went to Philadelphia in the wild card game, beat Philadelphia. The next week, actually, the week before that, we went to New England to beat New England to get into the playoffs to become a wild card team. So we went to New England, we went to Philadelphia, we went to New York all in 3 weeks, and then we played the closest team next to us, which is the Niners. and they smoked us pretty good. But anyway, I digress. But we played them 4 times that year, and it was a lot of time. You know what? They're a hateful bunch of pricks, but you know what? They were very, very good at the time, and so we have great respect for them. We don't love them, but we have respect for them, right, Leroy?
Yeah, Mike, the thing about it is that Monday
He's
night
out.
game, we were
Yeah.
2 games up on the 49ers. And had we just beat them that night, the NFC Championship game would have been played. We'd have been the NFC West champions, and they would have had to fly back east. But since we lost that game, they become the NFC West leaders, and we had the wild card. That game really cost us because, like you said, we played them 4 times that year. Had to go up the candlestick for the NFC Championship game, and just there.
Well, I can't hear him.
Oh, you can't hear let me try
No.
this, let me try this.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
gonna remove him, I'm gonna put him back.
It's all good. It's all good. Yeah, I'm sure he was spectacular.
That was the most wonderful thing you could have
Leroy
ever heard.
Leroy, try again, see if we can hear you again. I
Yeah.
removed you and put you back in.
We can't hear you, big guy. All right.
Yeah, I don't know why it's not
Yeah,
catching his audio because we can hear him.
we can hear
Yeah.
him, yeah.
Yeah, I can't. It's okay though.
Super weird.
Yeah.
Alright, well,
The
I mean,
dream
with
come
the
true to like answer all your questions at once. It truly was a dream come true for me. And when you consider there's only 32 kickers in the NFL, and of those 32 kickers, I'm guessing there's probably only 22, I'm sorry, that are talented kickers. I'm just happy to be a part of it and hang around guys like Leroy Irvin. I mean, I mean, I can't overstate the quality of athlete, the quality of people that I was with. It was such a great time.
It's awesome.
that's great.
Yeah.
I just got one more quick question for you.
What you got?
Um, you say you guys were always in close games, you're never blowing anybody out, but
Correct.
oftentimes it seems it probably came down to your foot, whether you guys would win or lose. Did you ever get used to that feeling of watching the offense drive towards field goal range and having that kind of, nervousness feeling? Did it ever get normal, or was it always kind of that super high anxiety moment?
I use that to my advantage. I think the energy and the nervousness. I figured out a way to make that work for me. If you look at my percentages, I don't have the highest percentage of anybody. I would miss a lot of kicks when we were up. If we were up or down by a lot of points, we're just I don't know why, but I did. It wasn't like I didn't try. It's just like the focus wasn't the same. The nervousness wasn't the same. The more nervous I was, the more into it I was. I mean, the more excited I was, the better I was. Those are the best kicks I've ever had. You know, we're up 21-7 in the third quarter, and that's on a big spread. But you know what? I mean, I wasn't. For some reason, I didn't hit the ball or approach the kick the same way that I would when we're getting down to the end.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah,
Awesome. Sweet.
We appreciate you coming on.
yeah,
It was really
yeah.
cool hearing about stuff that you hear about a lot.